Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm Anna. I'm a little bit spooky, and today we're going to be doing some matcha makeup and testing out the new Maybelline Superstay 24-hour skin tint, as well as a new mascara from Benefit. This is the Fan Fest mascara, so we have this to try out. And a new/old lipstick from Revlon that I wanted to include in today's look. This is one of their super lustrous lipsticks, and it's in the shade Mink. And I picked this up there at Walgreens on clearance, and it's such a perfect color for me and like my tastes in lipstick. So we're just gonna use it today, and yeah, we're just gonna play around, create a matcha look, and test some new products. Okay, so let's dive in. Right, okay, I'm going to start with the skin tint because I want to go ahead and put that on so you can kind of see what it does while it gets settled into the skin, all that. I'm not using a primer today. I just have my skincare on, and for skincare, I did my Drunk Elephant Vitamin C, my Sunday Riley Be Nice, and Josie Marin Argan Pro Retinol Eye Concentrate for my under eye cream, and then for my moisturizer, I use the Lawless Forget the Filler Skin Plumping Line Smoothing Perfecting Cream. I love this stuff. It's so nice, and it does claim to kind of have like some priming benefits, like similar to like a vitamin rich face base type of thing. Like it's a moisturizer, but it'll also kind of juice up your skin and make your makeup look nice over top. So we put some of that on today, and I'm going to skip out SPF because I'm not going outside today, for one thing. But I don't want to change the finish of this foundation. I just want to see what it looks like without any help. So that is what we're doing today. My eyes are already primed and all of that. Brows are on, obviously. But we're just going to jump in with the skin tint first, and I'm going to tell you some of the claims. So this retails for $17.99 at Ulta. I don't think I paid that much. I got it at Walgreens. I want to say I got closer to like a $15 price point. It comes in 18 shades, and the shade range is white, 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 2 deep shades. It's like the worst shade range. There's 2 deep shades and then just a lot of really pale shades and some medium shades that you can't really tell the difference between. They do have a variety of undertones within those pale shades, but there's not a lot of depth changes that much. I originally bought this in the shade 102, which is the lightest shade, and it was kind of shockingly pale on my skin, and I hated the way it looked. Like it just, I don't know, it just looked awful. I have it in a vlog where I did my first impressions of just slapping it on one day when I first bought it, and I was like, oh gosh, what's wrong? Why does it look funny? But I saw potential in the foundation, if that makes sense. So I decided to exchange it for a deeper shade. So I went up to 112, which is technically 2 shades up in the range, but it's not any deeper than the next shade up. It just has a different undertone, which this one has a pink undertone. Anyway, you do have a nice glass component here with the dropper situation. There is, if you can, I don't know if it's going to show on camera, but there is a sheen within this, like a pearlescence that kind of looks like a flawless filter look to it, which the Revlon skin tint has. The L'Oreal True Match Tinted Hyaluronic Serum, which is my favorite, also has that little bit of a sheen in it as well. But the formula on this is quite different than those 2 foundations. Now, this claims to have bright, buildable coverage that ranges from light to medium, and that I do agree with. I think it definitely has a nice buildable coverage to it. You can cover up any imperfections pretty well, and you're able to sheer it out really nicely. Like it is quite versatile in its coverage level, and it's supposed to have a skin-like natural radiant look. I think it does have a little bit of like a radiant look to it, but it doesn't look greasy or wet on the skin. Like it has a bit of a dry down to it where it kind of feels like if you took a matte foundation and mixed Flawless Filter into it, that is how it behaves on the skin. It has a weightless feel up to 24-hour wear. Weightless, yes, this is incredibly like lightweight on the skin. Like you don't feel it on your skin. It has a slight kind of gritty texture, almost like a chalkiness feel to it. And when I got the shade lighter, it looked chalky. Like, I don't know if it's something with the pigment load, but when I went to the shade up, the texture and like formula of it looks better. And it just feels better to just touch. It doesn't feel nearly quite as chalky and feel like when you rub it. Like you can feel kind of the pigments in it, if that makes sense. Which I've had foundations that have that feel to them. Usually they tend to be more like those thin, watery, matte finish foundations. But yeah, 24-hour wear. Now, I wouldn't say you get 24-hour wear out of this, but you do get a really good wear time. I did notice an incredible wear time with this one. Like, it survived a heavy-duty leg day at the gym, a nap, and just a full day of hot 104 degrees weather in swampiness of Louisiana. It survived. So there is something to those claims there of it being very resilient as far as elements go and being sweat resistant, because it does claim to resist sweat, humidity, and fading. And I do think it did very well on that front. And that's what made me, instead of just returning the foundation, get a different shade to make it work for me. Because I saw the potential in that wear time. I was like, ooh, that is quite impressive. It is also infused with vitamin C to brighten the skin instantly and over time. Now, here's my thing with this having the vitamin C in it. I'm not sure what type of vitamin C it is. It does not say on here. So I'm going to look on the description on the website and I'll put it on the screen what type of vitamin C it is. Because the thing with vitamin C is that it is not a stable active. Most vitamin C goes bad fairly quickly in my experience, especially if it's like an L-ascorbic acid. Vitamin C, they turn and they will go orange on you and they will smell really bad. That's something that happens with just they oxidize with the light and they go bad. It's just kind of how it is with vitamin C's. They're not the most stable ingredient, and it's one that you really do have to like replace frequently within your skincare routine. Most of the time, mine end up going bad before I even use up the container, and it's not like they're kept in bright sun or anything like that. They're usually in a light control bottle. They still go orange on me within about 30 to 45 days. Now, depending on the type of vitamin C is in this, I worry about that being a potential problem of the vitamin C going bad before you even use this foundation up. Odds are it's probably a very minute amount of vitamin C. It's probably pretty low on the ingredient deck. If I was just making an inference that it wouldn't really make that much a difference. So I wouldn't look to this for my vitamin C regardless, for my skincare benefits from that. I wouldn't have even, honestly, if I was Maybelline, I wouldn't even bother putting that in here. It is a very, very watery formula. So that's why they did the dropper. It's very, very thin, runny in texture. Let me kind of do some out on my hand. It's about as runny as the L'Oreal True Match Skin Tint. And you can see a sheen in it when you blend it out. And you are meant to shake this up, by the way, because the pigments and everything will kind of separate. And yeah, but you can see like a sheen in it, like the shimmer when you spread it out. But it has, at some reason, it kind of almost makes me think of like a dry oil feel to it. There's like that kind of a powdery feel within it, where it's not emollient and creamy. It's just a very thin, watery feel, and you can like almost feel the pigments with your finger, right? My other complaint is that it has a smell. Now, what's weird is the lighter shade that I picked up had a very strong smell. Like, it smelled bad. So I don't know if maybe that one might have just been a dud all around, but like it was like burn your eyes smell bad. Like I was concerned that my eyes were going to get irritated because it was just fumes. Like, and it also says it is flammable on the back. So keep that in mind. But let's give this a shake. Drip a little bit out on my hand here. And that's what we will use on the face for now. And we'll see how far this goes. But yeah, this shade I think suits me a lot better. And this one, it still smells. And I do kind of get that vitamin C smell from it. And when I say a vitamin C smell, I don't mean orange. Vitamin C products don't inherently smell good. And the older they are, the worse they're going to smell. So one thing that does concern me about this being in a clear glass tube is that vitamin C in there going bad really quickly. So I'm going to go ahead and dab some of this on. This wasn't meant to be a full review of that, but I had some thoughts already. I have found that the best way to apply this is with a beauty blender. And I'm not going to underpaint today. I'm just going to go ahead and put this on just so you can see what it looks like on the skin. This deeper shade up, it just feels a little bit creamier and less powdery and chalky as the other one felt. That's very strange. So I feel like there's an inconsistency there within the range and the smell. It really did have quite a smell. I find Beauty Blender does the best with this one. It just presses it in really nicely. I mean, that's pretty. That looks pretty on the skin. Do I think everyone's going to like the skin tint? Probably not. I think if you are dry skin, you're not going to like this. But I think if you're kind of combo leaning oily but not super duper oily, you would probably enjoy this one. I feel like if you have just really, really oily skin, this one's probably not going to hold up super, super well for you, but it's going to wear okay. But I think with dry skin, this one's not the one to look at. It's not a hydrating type of skin tint like a lot of them are. Because I did notice, like, if I had a bit of a dry spot, it did cling a little bit to flakes. This is just one light layer, and I think it looks so pretty. And this shade is a really good match for me, the third up in the range. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty on the skin. And I think if you moisturize really well, and if you're a bit drier skin type, you're going to have better results with this one. This is one I think definitely benefits from having a moisturized base and not applying it over anything super matte. I feel like this one plays really well without primer at all. Like, it just looks good over skincare. And I gotta admit, that looks really pretty on the skin. Like, I kind of am willing to, the few cons I mentioned about it, I'm willing to overlook because of how nice it looks and how nice it wears. Okay, I'm going in with a second little coat here, and that's just from what was on the back of my hand. And I'm just gonna pounce around where I need a little extra coverage, like on my cheeks here. I had a little pimple. Does anyone else just get random little pimples on their cheek right there and they kind of itch? I think it's an allergy thing. I get those occasionally, and I get them on my jawline where I'm just like itchy. I think the August allergies. I get itchy in August just from something in the air. Me and my dog both will be itchy all month. Whatever blooms this time of year in Louisiana does a number on our skin. And that truly does look so skin-like. And it has a radiance to it, but to me, it doesn't look wet. It doesn't look greasy or oily. It just looks glowy in the best way, like you have some flawless filter on kind of glow. Like, it just looks somewhat luminous, if you will. And I think that's a very pretty finish. And it takes down the redness. It covers anything I need covering. And again, yeah, it is quite buildable and builds very easily without looking heavy. It's a very light looking product. Like, it's not something you look at and think, oh, foundation. No, it's just so thin. Now, I'm a skin tint fan. I like these serum-y foundations and these thin like undetectable ones. I love those kind. That's kind of my go-to, but they are definitely not all created equally. Like there's a good variety within the formulas that I've noticed. There we go. I think that looks so nice. And just things look even and fresh and healthy. I'm a fan. I'm a fan so far of this one. Again, the wear time is so incredible on it. I mean, if anything survives me at the gym, I got to give it props because I'm not a go easy kind of gal at the gym. Like when I'm lifting, that's what I do a lot of strength training, a lot of heavy lifting, like heavy. And I am huffing, puffing, sweating, pouring off of me. Like I don't go easy on myself. So for a foundation to be able to survive that with me just dripping and pouring sweat, that's awesome. And just in this climate that we're in right now with this 100 and something degree weather every day where it's just baking hot, but it's also wet feeling outside and very humid, especially in the morning time. Like the air just feels like it's a humidifier going right in your face. I gotta give it some props for that. And this one does kind of have a slight dry down on its own. I think if you were a bit more on the dry side, if you didn't want to set it, you definitely would not have to set this one. It will pretty much stay put fairly well. I've gotten away with just setting like my T-zone and been good. Okay, enough about that foundation though. Good stuff. If my opinions change or thoughts change, I will update you as I continue to play with it. And if you want to see a devoted wear test, let me know down below and I can do a full day wear test and we can really nerd out over that one. So let's go ahead and do the eyes real quick and then I'll come back and do concealer and all that. But I'm in the mood for some Matcha makeup. I did a reel yesterday with a Matcha look. So I don't want to recreate that same look, but I'm going to play with the colors and maybe the placement, change things up a little bit. But I used the Yucca palette from Natasha Denona, and any excuse to use this palette really. But yesterday I used these two shades here, and I think I used a little bit of citrine, and this one up here. I used Camu Camu, Asia, Kamarebi, and I don't think I actually did use citrine. Never mind. But yeah, I just used like these three across the top, and I'm gonna use those three today. But I'm gonna do a little more oomph to it. Maybe do things a little bit differently with the placement and just kind of play. I'm thinking I'm gonna keep more of the lid, maybe matte. So let's dive in. I'm gonna start with a little bit of eyeliner right at the lashes just to get some depth, like right here. And I'm going to use this one from Sormay. This is Sormay Treatment Cosmetics. This is their smear-proof eyeliner in the shade Black Jade. This is like a nearly black green eyeliner, and I think it will just complement the look really, really well without being in your face obvious color. Instead of using brown, I feel like this will just tie in a little better. I was going to make matcha today, but then I was like, I'm just not in the mood. I want coffee. Yesterday I made matcha because I was going to drink it while I was doing my reel and all that and have it as a prop. Ended up just being a prop because whatever brand I got, it was like a trial size. It was so gross. I could not stand it. It had ghee in it because apparently it wasn't just straight matcha like I thought it was. It was actually one that has like ghee and MTC oils and like some other stuff in it. And you could taste the ghee. I don't want my matcha to taste like butter. It tasted like a meat product or something. It was not good. Let's do this real quick. This is going to be a pretty straightforward, simple eye look. Nothing too complicated about it. But I love this shade because it is just kind of an off black. It has a green undertone. And before that sits down, I am going to blend it out. Brush and just soften that up a bit. Just gonna get going in the direction I want to go. I'm gonna do just a little subtle kind of baby wing. Now I'm gonna grab a fluffy brush and I'm gonna go into the shade called Asia. We're gonna kind of focus it more on the outer bit and then we'll kind of bring it in. I think first I'm gonna use a little bit more of a concentrated brush just to kind of get started here with my placement. And I'm just going to pat it right where we come with that liner and a little bit coming inward. Yeah, that liner complemented this shade really well. The look I did yesterday was more glowy with the shimmer and more blown out. It didn't have like a lifted shape to it really or anything. So we're going to kind of keep it a little more on that lifted side. And I'm going to clean up the edges and kind of sharpen things up once we finish up here. And we take my fluffy brush, and we soften some edges just a little bit. Okay, and now I'm going to take Camu Camu, which is that really light pastel yet highlighter green, and I'm just going to pop that on. I like the way this shade blends out because it goes to more of a yellowy softness, and it's not metallic, or it's not chalky looking or super opaque unless you build it up. It actually just has a really nice kind of wash of color to it. And they look so pretty. I mean, that's pretty. That's a pretty color. I'm going to use that as a transition a little bit. And because I'm using a fluffy brush, I'm applying it more as just kind of a wash across the lid. If you want more intensity out of it, you could take it on a denser brush and it will deposit more pigment in a controlled area. I'm going to jump back over to Acia, bit on the same brush. Just make sure we still have that nice depth out here. I think you could probably leave the look here with just the matte shades and look really pretty. But I kind of want to put just a little bit of Kamarabi like right in the inner corner instead of all over the lid. So taking like Camu Camu on like a brush like this, it's going to give a little bit more impact. Bring in a little bit more of that vibrance. Okay, I'm going to take a little bit of Kamarabi on a little small brush here, just where I can get some nice kind of detail with it. And we go right on this inner corner. And have that like just be glowing. Very pretty. Just do a little swoop. I think this is kind of a fun color story going into fall a little bit. Because you can make it a little bit darker and dingier. You don't have to go quite as vibrant with the green, and it would be really pretty. You could stay more in those olivey tones. But we're going for matcha, so it should be kind of... I'm always surprised by how truly like vibrant matcha looks when you make it. Like, it's so pretty. And then like when it's like, you know, the latte, it's a little bit diluted, but like just the straight matcha tea, it's so pretty. It's such a beautiful shade of green. I'm going to do my concealer now. I'm going to grab a little flat brush first with nothing on it. This is what I usually use for my concealer. I'm just going to tidy up right there. Make sure there's no fallout and all that too. And for my concealer today, I'm going to use the Butter Glow Concealer from Physicians Formula. Just take a little bit of that on the back of my hand and work off of that little brush here. And just apply it where I want it to be. This is a very full coverage concealer, so I like to kind of have a lighter hand with it. And only really applying like what I actually need. And sit anywhere that I want to like brighten up as well. And we'll blend that out. I'm going to start with a fluffy brush for under the eye. And whatever foundation is left on this. And make sure everything is just merged together. I'm going to do a little bit of some cream bronzer. Use a touch of the Charlotte Tilbury Beautiful Skin Sun Kissed Glow Bronzer. Wow, I remember that whole name in one go. Whew. I'm just going to take a little bit. Something about having my hair back though, I just want to go like super sculpted. Just a thing. Don't forget to get under here. Just give this a little pat, pat, pat. And do a little bit of cream blush. I'm going to use Bahamas from e.l.f. because it's just a favorite blush. I just always want to use it. It's like a light burnt orange. And I'm going to set the center of my face with a little bit of my Makeup Revolution translucent powder. Mostly in the T-zone. I'm going to let the rest just kind of be. I'm going to set where I'm concealed and like right in this very inner part of the face that I don't want to be super glowy. I'm going to jump back over to the eyeshadow for a second. I'm going to take this same eyeliner pencil. I'm just going to right into the tight line with it on the upper part. But yeah, skin is looking pretty good. I'm really kind of liking that foundation, I gotta admit. It does look nice. It's just weird that the difference within those shades, like, just, I mean, almost on a performance level, and the way that they just felt. I've heard that mentioned a couple of times about lighter shades not feeling the same as the deeper shades, like they feel a little like chalkier. I think it was Alana Davison who mentioned that about the Beautiful Skin foundation. Go in with my Nudegasm palette here. I'm just going to take a little bit of the contours. I'm going to swirl them together. Take a little extra sculpt in here. I'm going to go back to my fluffy brush, take a little bit of those, swirl together the two bronzers in this palette, which are these two shades right here. And just come right out here and give those greens something to kind of merge into. And look at that instant eye lift we just got. Okay, I'm going to take the highlighter in this palette. Highlighter shade here, it's just a nice champagne color. Keeping the lower lash line kind of blank. Alright, I'm going to take a little bit of the glowy peach shade. There we go. Bring a little more color in. Contour right here, down the nose. I do want to hit the lower lash line with just a touch of that green shimmer, the Karobi shade, Kamarobi shade. I'm trying to say like Karobi, I think, for some reason. I'm just going to hit a little bit of that under there. It's a little glow to catch the light. I'm going to touch my brows up with the e.l.f. Brow Lift. I really like this stuff. It is quite fun. You talk about give you some beautiful, like feathery brows. Lock them in. This is good stuff. So I just take it on. I bent a spoolie. It's just easier to get it in the container with the spoolie bent. And just brush them through. I do this as the last step because things will stick to this. Like if you go into like powder and everything, after you use this product, it's going to stick to it because it's like a gel that doesn't really set fully. It's just a weird sticky stuff that somehow is not annoying to have in your brows and works really well. It's kind of, you know, like a pomade-y type product. But I mean, it's good stuff. But I have very stubborn little brow hairs, and this holds them in place. And again, also survives the gym. Let's talk about this mascara from Benefit. It's their newest launch, I believe. I'm gonna curl my lashes really quickly. Just give them a little quick squeeze here. It is called the Fan Fest Mascara, and it retails for $28. Dang, I feel like that's expensive. But the Fan Fest Fanning and Volumizing Mascara. It's supposed to have a 24-hour full fan effect. It's long wearing. I did get a touch of smudging, but this is meant to amplify volume, multiply the look of lashes. Full flex fiber brush lifts from root to tip and reaches corner to corner. It does. The brush is actually quite nice. It like hugs your like eye, the curve of your eye, and really does catch all the lashes nicely. It claims to be smudge proof, water resistant, humidity proof. It does pretty well. As far as that goes, I did get like just the teentiest bit of smudging, but it wasn't like anything horrible. When like it was melting off of me. It claims to be sweat proof. I don't think I've worn this to the gym yet to tell you if that's true. I squint my eyes a lot, and my lashes touch my cheeks because that's just kind of how my eyes sit anyway. And I squint a lot because that's just the way my face is made. So I get black here sometimes. And I think the day that this smudged on me, I didn't have any powder on. I just had like sunscreen and I was sweating. So that may have caused it to transfer instead of, you know, if you have a little powder there, it would be less likely to happen. Formulated with Pro Vitamin B5 to help the lashes feel conditioned. Cranberry extract that contains beneficial fatty acids that help lashes feel nourished. Rice wax helps define and separate lashes and gives lift that lasts. It gives lift that lasts. Okay, so here's what it looks like. It's very cute packaging, by the way. I like the packaging. Very cute. They do have this in a mini. This was gifted to me by Benefit, by the way. And this is the way the wand looks. I like the wand. Do I think the formula itself is anything absolutely insane? Can't find it anywhere else? No. I think you could get the same effect on your lashes with Essence Lash Princess, the Maybelline Falsies Surreal. This isn't anything that groundbreaking. But that being said, I think it's a nice mascara, but you definitely do not have to spend $28 to get the same effect. I think this one almost looks prettier with one coat. Like I said, I mean, that looks nice. But again, I do believe that the drugstore got you covered with mascara. But if you were looking for a high-end, long-wearing one that's not necessarily fully like waterproof, but water resistant, this would be a nice one to look at. It does make it look like you have a lot of lashes. I really want to try Huda's like one coat one. People seem to think that one's amazing. I'm interested. But I really do feel like this one looks best with one coat on myself. I notice it can get a little chunky looking the more you layer it up, which I mean is the case for most mascaras. But I mean, is this doing anything that Maybelline Falsies Surreal or L'Oreal Telescopic Lash Lift is doing? Not really. No. It's pretty much the same effect. But I mean, it's nice looking though. So I'm not complaining. And I am a fan of this wand. It's easy to use. It's not so chunky or voluminous of a wand that it is hard to work with. Now if I was going to rate this out of Benefit mascaras, this is hands down their best one. Because I don't think Benefit mascaras are really that spectacular. I think this one is definitely top tier from them. It is really easy to get in that inner corner with this wand. And kind of catch every lash. And they look pretty like lengthened and voluminous. But I mean, I've had drugstore mascara do the same. That have the same wear time as well. The benefits of this one, of course, are those, the Pro Vitamin, and which I think is biotin. Isn't B5 just biotin? The cranberry extract and the rice wax is an interesting ingredient. All right, without any extra product on the brush, I'm just gonna go over a second time because I feel like that really makes them look fluffy. Just kind of gives a little considering clumpiness. It's easy to get to the lowers with the little end here. It's a natural fiber wand, by the way, which is my preferred type of wand. I enjoy a natural fiber type of wand myself. And I do like a curved or the hourglass shaped wands. Like, it makes these little inner guys look so long and big. But okay, that's what that looks like. I think they look very, very voluminous, very nice. Like, I enjoy the mascara. Out of high-end mascaras, this is probably one of the better ones I've used. I think there's been like a couple of Lancome mascaras that have impressed me. That Bite Upswing one was holy grail status. This one's quite impressive as far as high-end mascaras go, that I do think is worth checking out if you wanted to spend that money. But yeah, the foundation is looking beautiful still. Okay, so for lips, I'm going to do a little bit of, where'd it go? Where did it go? Here it is. Cool Brown from ABH. Just going to do a little light outline with this. Just like that, just a little shaping. I always take my finger or a brush or something to just kind of blend it a little bit. Kind of soften it. And this lipstick, this is the Revlon Super Lustrous. Is that Super Lustrous? Or yeah, Super Lustrous. In the shade 671 Meek. And this is a creme formula, it says. And this is what it looks like. Pretty. It's so pretty. And it has a nice sheerness to it. And a sheen. Like, it's almost glossy. It is so, so pretty. I saw it was just like randomly, I was looking at the clearance bin, as one does. You dig through the clearance when you're in Walgreens. I do that when like the seasons are changing because they're clearing out like old makeup, and sometimes you can find some treasure, like my nail polish that I wear, this shade. It was no longer on the shelf, but they had one left in the clearance bin. This is Essie in the Essie Espressi line. Oh, I can't think of the shade now. Some espresso maybe, but it's a almost black and brown. I love it. So I'm going to need to find a replacement for that. Look at just how pretty is this shade. You know, I just saw the label on the bottom. It said Mink, and I bought it because 9 times out of 10, if something is labeled Mink or Raisin, I'm going to love it. I love the finish of this. I know these are like super old, been out forever type of formula. Just probably haven't used one since maybe my mom had one 20 years ago. But I definitely recognize that tube. Like, yeah, that's familiar. Now look at that, how pretty. That's so pretty. I love this lipstick shade. And yeah, I think that is our look complete for today. So this, I'm going to keep you updated. We're going to continue testing and wearing. Let me know if you do want like a full day, totally super duper in-depth review of this guy. Let me know. I think I covered most of the bases in this video, but I do think the wear time on it is pretty good. The mascara, it's a really good mascara if you're looking for one from a higher price point. But again, you don't have to spend $28 for a good mascara. That being said, it is a nice mascara. If you have any suggestions or ideas for like a color story you would like to see, let me know. I love doing these color inspired looks where it's not really about the product. But today we were a little more product focused because we were talking about some new stuff. But anyway, let me know down below if there are some color stories you're interested in. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next one. Stay safe, stay spooky. Bye now. Wait, do my pose. My triceps are out of control.